Whether through fear of rejection, a lack of confidence, or the allure of a safe digital environment, men are asking women out in person far less than ever before. A recent study has also found that half of US adults are finding dating itself a lot harder now than they did 10 or 20 years back. For men, the issue stems from needing to be unique enough to stick out in the mind of a suitor, while simultaneously not coming across too clingy, needy, or standoffish, all whilst hitting it out the park immediately. As a result, the level of expectation and pressure is sky high. That's before even mentioning the insane level of competition when you include the world of dating apps. Women, meanwhile, are bombarded with potential suitors to the point of it feeling utterly hopeless. Unlike men, women have a constant flurry of potential men to date, but trying to find Mr. Perfect in a sea of mediocrity, and, in the very extreme examples, potentially dangerous weirdos in the middle of that, makes it a particularly volatile minefield. There have been a lot of dating shows on Netflix, but Japanese series Offline Love attempts to break through these issues, all whilst adding an element of authenticity to everything. The show takes a trip down memory lane to the bygone days of just, well, meeting people offline and asking them out. With no smartphones and 10 days to find the one, who will find love? Will there be heartbreak? And who will end up with whom by the end of the 10 episodes? The premise is intriguing from the off, and thankfully we have a panel of hilarious commentators here we cut across to at opportune times to fill us in on what's happening. However, the bulk of drama centres on 10 singletons who jet off to the gorgeous Nice. Set on the sun-soaked south coast of France, 5 men and 5 women prepare for an unforgettable trip. A lot of the contestants do have pretty successful careers already, or happen to be within the entertainment industry, which does kind of lean into the feel for parts of this being staged, or at least superficially choosing the best candidates to be on camera. With this in mind, on the male side we have Atsushi, Kensuke, Sho, Aru, and Yudai. For the women, we have Mimi, Toko, Nanami, Maho, and Kanaka. To begin with, each contestant takes it in turns to enter a cafe in the middle of Nice, which serves as their base of operations. On day 1, they deposit their smartphone and electronics inside a locker and exchange it for a purple guidebook and some cash. From here, it's up to the singletons to try and bump into each other across the city, with specific hotspots used as clear reference points. They can't obviously look each other up online, but they can write letters to each other and deposit them inside those aforementioned lockers to try and meet up. The first few episodes serve as that awkward meet and greet stage, and there's some nice moments here that lead into that aforementioned theme of authenticity. These guys can and do miss meeting at certain points, and there are even a couple of times where the singletons just walk past one another without even realising it. However, there is a question around the camera crews following these guys about, and of course with those hotspots, it also means the chances of meeting a potential suitor are increased. On this same note, there's one chance meet inside a church that feels a bit staged, especially as there are 3 different cameras set up inside there already. The premise itself is quite cool though, but it also has some major issues. Nice is a big area, and there are no rules around just hanging at the cafe all day. To be fair, we do see some of these guys just chilling inside next to the lockers, eating lunch or dinner, and they just so happen to bump into each other. So there is that. Having said that, the show's initial premise is given a bit of a kick around day 3, where the singletons all meet for one big dinner and are given special wish dates to give to one another. From here, the show takes on a more conventional tone and feel seen in other dating series, with feelings heightened, big dates planned, and inevitable heartbreak ensuing. All of this eventually leads to the finale, where the singletons put it all on the line to choose the potential suitor and hope for one final date before jetting back to Japan, or Paris, as the case may be for one of the contestants. The show is incredibly emotional at times, and there will be moments where you sit with a huge grin watching these guys falling for one another. Conversely, there are also genuinely upsetting and heartbreaking moments too, when feelings aren't requited. While the show does have this raw, unfiltered feel, it's far from perfect. 10 days just doesn't feel like enough time to properly test whether these guys really love one another, while there are some questionable choices for the picker contestants. At times, it does feel like some of these guys are just here for a nice holiday holiday and to experience the food. I also mentioned it briefly before, but with one girl who actually lives in Paris, for her it just kind of feels like a trip up the road and a chance to have a nice holiday, rather than this being an unforgettable experience. It also means that the final speech about why Japan is such an online country and switched on, along with the importance of switching off, probably won't apply to her too much. Also, and this is a personal gripe, while the sound and the soundtrack in particular is pretty good, the theme song, Us by Gracie Abrams featuring Taylor Swift, is used way too often. With all this in mind though, Offline Love is a very solid dating show and an easy one to slip into. It feels very authentic, despite the initial issues with the cameras, and while the meets may be a little orchestrated at times, the feelings and conversations that spark up between couples are very clearly genuine. By the time the final credits roll, you'll be itching for a second season. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.